COVID-19 last week. While Hanks was filming a movie in Australia, fans noticed the similarity between his caption and a famous quote from Mr. Rogers, who Hanks played in the 2019 film A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Rogers once said, "When I was a little boy and something bad happened in the news, my mother would tell me to look for the helpers. You'll always find people helping." Chef Jose Andres will close his Washington, D.C. restaurants during the coronavirus crisis. He says his restaurants will become a place to feed those in need.
We need to be joining the NBA. We need to be joining the closings of other venues that are doing the right call ahead of everybody. We cannot stay much longer with restaurants open, or we will only be part of the problem when we need to be part of the solution.
Andres posted this video on Twitter saying he wants to protect the health of patrons and his staff. He went on to say that this moment is about we, the people. The James Beard award-winning chef will offer community food assistance in some of his restaurants, and that includes providing to-go lunches. The box office hit a 20-year low this weekend amid the coronavirus pandemic. Moviegoers stayed out of the theaters, resulting in $55.3 million in revenue here in the U.S. and Canada. That's compared to the weekend before, which brought in more than $100 million. Disney's Pixar's latest release, Onward, stayed in the #1 spot, but still had the worst decline in Pixar history. The film fell 73% in its second weekend, making $10.5 million, followed by I Still Believe, Bloodshot, The Invisible Man, and The Hunt. Box office revenue has not been this low since 2000, according to the data firm ComScore. More people went to the movies the weekend after September 11th, 2001. Cinemas across the country have started to shut their doors following the closures of theaters in nearly 50 foreign markets. Frozen 2 is coming to your living room early thanks to a recent move by Disney, referencing the ongoing coronavirus pandemic as a challenging period. Disney announced on Friday that Frozen 2 will be made available on its streaming service 3 months ahead of schedule. The move comes as schools are closing, leaving millions of children at home. An increasing number of family attractions, including Disney's own theme parks, are being shut down out of concerns over the spread of the coronavirus. The film is now streaming in the U.S. A personal trainer in Spain did not let coronavirus quarantines and mandatory lockdowns get in the way of a sweat session. Instead, he held a group workout on the roof of a local apartment building. In a show of social distancing, residents joined the instructor on their balconies and at their windows for jumping jacks, squats, and other stretches. The instructor reportedly organized the session via WhatsApp messages to his neighbors. The video went viral as a show of how people can still practice their daily routines, still exercise amid quarantines and social distancing recommendations. All right, more top stories are next, along with an in-depth look at the markets with Closing Bell, joining by Nora Ali and Brad Smith. We'll be right back.
Time to wake up with Cheddar. Good morning. Tell me everything.
Come on now. Where do we begin?
The turn of events for this company is absolutely incredible.
Incredible.
Impeachment seems to be the word on everyone's lips.
You guys, I really just want to hurry up because there's an actor I want to go say hi to.
I'll let that go for today.
Tropical storm Flossie continues to weaken.
We are awaiting comments from President Donald Trump this morning.
U.S. officials believe that it happened during the testing of a nuclear missile.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Walk us through how you make the perfect walk. Sure. Ezekiel Elliott considering not playing this upcoming season.
There's a mixed pot here.
right here.
Spoiler alert.
today we're trying out these storage soles. The box says that they're perfect for hiding your house keys, emergency cash, or medicine, and they come in sizes 8 through 12. Let's see how they work. I like that it's easy to put in your shoe, easy to pop this thing out and put stuff inside, and it goes from a range of sizes. I don't like that it only fits one house key. Your bills, you have to fold them up rather small, and it doesn't fit any form of credit card. Would I buy it? I don't know. But if I had it already, would I use it? Probably. You could fit a good emergency 20 in here.
It makes like a noise. I don't like that. It worked! Holy oh, they feel so weird. Oh, they're like heavy. I don't think I got them very close to my, like the base of my eyelashes. Honestly, watch out, Carly Kloss.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Cheddar's Closing Bell. I'm Nora Ali, live from Headquarters here in New York City.
And I'm Brad Smith, live from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Brad, nice to see you. We are practicing social distancing, of course. We are set up to cover the coronavirus crisis from around the country with our Alan Newhouser standing by with the latest fallout for the airline sector, while our Alyssa Julia Smith is live in LA with more on how the West Coast is coping with the outbreak. And down in DC, our own Shana Stuhlin is at the ready as the White House prepares another briefing on combating the coronavirus at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We have you covered across the country, Brad.
That's right, but first, we're about an hour away from the market close, and markets are already on a historically bad pace. Even though we are off of session lows, the Dow is on track for its worst month since 1987. Let's check in on where things stand right now. You're taking a live look here on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. 59 minutes left in the trading session here on the day. Under that now, and right now we're down by more than 1,900 points on the Dow. As mentioned, off of our session lows, but still lower by about 8.4%. S&P 500, that is lower by about 7.8%. At one point, we saw the market-wide circuit breakers get triggered earlier in today's session. We've only seen those circuit breakers get triggered 4 times, 3 of those times coming within the past week, including today's activity. The time before that, 1997. We'll get back to that and cover it throughout the rest of this hour. The Russell 2000, that's down by 10% right now, 10.7%. And then additionally, if we check in on the NASDAQ composite right now, you'll find that lower by about 8.1%. Now, let's put all of this together. S&P 500 companies lost more than $2 trillion in value in the first few minutes of trading. $2 trillion in value in the first few minutes of trading. That's a lot after a second emergency rate cut by the Federal Reserve within 2 weeks of intensified fears of a recession. Central banks in Japan, Australia, and New Zealand joined the Fed by announcing dramatic monetary easing in a coordinated effort not seen since the 2008 financial crisis. Trading on the 3 main indexes was halted for 15 minutes at the open, the third such pause in 6 days of trading here. Nora, so we've been tracking this very closely. We've got just about 57 minutes left in the trading session, Nora.
That's right, Brad. Thanks for that update. And one bright spot today, U.S. health officials have confirmed that human trials began on a vaccine for the coronavirus. Moderna has been fast-tracking a vaccine with the help of the U.S. government. Shares of the pharmaceutical company surging over 20%. But important to note that reviewing any potential vaccine, Brad, it's a long, complex process. You have to find the humans to run these trials and get all those resources. So the timing of it is still questionable at this point, Brad.
Yeah, that's right. And as we're taking a look at shares of Moderna, they are up by about 30% here on the day, year to date by about 43%. This is what the markets are going to be waiting for. A few things. Of course, it is the testing. It's this partnership between the public and the private sector towards finding a solution, but it's also the economic data. And right now, the economic data, because it is a lagging indicator, of course, we're going to not just be waiting for the next report, but then the one after that as well, to see how deep the impact is and then how long it's going to take for many Americans, many small businesses, and even big businesses to recover in their respective industries. Speaking of which, Nora, we've been tracking this and talking about it. Travel bans and slowing demand have left airlines struggling amid the coronavirus outbreak, and it's only going to get worse. Today, Australian consulting firm CAPA, Center for Aviation, reported that without government intervention here, most global airlines could go bankrupt by the end of May. Alan, Alan's watching these airlines for us. He's in Washington, D.C. Airlines are not asking for government assistance. Can you explain this, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, this has been quite a dramatic turnabout for these airlines, especially the big three U.S. airlines, United, Delta, and American, which last year saw record profits, now asking for essentially a big federal support package. The Wall Street Journal putting a price tag on that of as much as $50 billion. And in a statement that we got from the main trade group for the industry here in the U.S., Airlines for America, them saying that the airlines need this essentially immediate assistance is how they described it. And I mean, we've seen some very dramatic numbers from these carriers. United, for example, slashing its capacity by 50%. And meanwhile, the market value of each of these airlines really just taking very big plunges in really only just the past week. So a major turnabout for the sector, and now a call for help.
That's right. And so how much is the airline industry hurting right now, Alan?
It's big. I mean, United slashing its capacity by 50%. I mean, United, its stock price way down by about 50%. I believe Delta earlier was closer to 40. I mean, JetBlue, I mean, just some of the numbers that we're getting, American Airlines cutting 75% of its international flights. Delta, 20 to 25% of its international flights. Bookings down by a third. United cutting flights by half in the next 2 to 3 months. I mean, just big moves to cope with the sudden slowdown in demand as a result of these travel restrictions in response to coronavirus.
Alan, I do believe shares as well for American Airlines are trading at one of the lowest levels that I've seen since, 2013, and that was the same year that U.S. Airways and American Airlines merged. That was an $11 billion deal back then, so we'll be watching the entire industry very closely, as we know you will, and updating us. Thanks so much, Alan. He is the energy and transportation reporter here at Cheddar. Let's go back to headquarters where Nora Ali is standing by.
Thanks, Brad. Well, the coronavirus continues to hit hard on the West Coast. Cheddar's Alyssa Julia Smith is standing by in LA with the latest. Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, Nora. Well, California's efforts to protect its citizens reaching new levels today. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, 6 Bay Area counties are expected to enforce a shelter-in-place order for the next 3 weeks until early April at the earliest. The directive has residents staying inside their homes and away from others as much as they can. It begins tonight at midnight and will involve San Francisco, Santa Clara, San Mateo, Marin, Contra Costa, and Alameda counties. All in all, affecting over 6.7 million people. The news is expected to be announced later today in a press conference, but was reported by the Chronicle after a local news station published early. And meanwhile, Hollywood star Idris Elba announcing he tested positive for the coronavirus. The English actor sharing an update on social media just a few moments ago. Take a look.
Yeah, and it sucks. Listen, I'm doing okay. Sabrina hasn't been tested and she's doing okay. I didn't have any symptoms. I got tested because I realized I was exposed to someone who had also tested positive.
Elba revealing he received the diagnosis this morning and has been in isolation since learning he was exposed to the virus last Friday. The star ending his video post urging fans and the public to remember, quote, "This is serious. Now, this is the time to really think about social distancing," adding that transparency is incredibly important right now as well. Here in Los Angeles, Mayor Eric Garcetti forcing the closures of bars and dine-in restaurant services around LA County until at least March 31st. The restrictions include movie theaters and gyms as officials stress the importance of social distancing. The serious steps are also being taken at the state level. Governor Gavin Newsom hasn't yet enforced bar and restaurant closures, but he is urging businesses to follow suit. The governor is leaving school closures up to local leaders around the state. More than 50% of K-12 districts choosing to shut down, including the massive LA Unified School District. LAUSD will open centers, likely in their school buildings, to supply students and families with food and supplies. The precautions come as LA County reaches 69 of the state's 335 confirmed cases. Officials prioritizing the more vulnerable population statewide as new cases arise daily. Here's what Governor Gavin Newsom had to say in an announcement on Sunday.
We are calling for the home isolation of all seniors in the state of California. We are calling for the home isolation of all of those 65 years and older and those with chronic conditions.
Among the elderly and immunocompromised, California officials say addressing coronavirus in the homeless population is a, quote, top concern. The state currently procuring hotels and motels to house the homeless population in an effort to prevent further community spread. In addition to hotels and motels, 450 travel trailers are dispersing to locations around the state for shelter. The effects are being felt far outside California, though. The College Board announcing it is canceling the SAT exam scheduled for May 2nd, in addition to the makeup SATs that were supposed to be taken later this month. The board said it will provide more testing opportunities, quote, as soon as is feasible.
All right, our thanks to Alyssa Julia Smith live for us in LA. We'll have more coronavirus updates on the West Coast later on today. And coming up, we'll head down to our nation's capital, where in a matter of minutes, the president's coronavirus task force will be updating on the latest efforts to combat the virus. Our Shanna Estulin is standing by with a preview. Stick with us.
Looking to start your morning with the best in business news? Check out Wake Up with Cheddar.
Catching you up on all of the market headlines that you may have missed.
Uber shares are soaring this morning.
Amazon is crushing earnings estimates in its last quarter.
Delivering all the news you need in just 10 minutes.
Sharing insightful commentary on the daily.
You guys ready?
I'm ready for this.
All right.
Never been more ready in my life. Wake up with